Deborah, can you hear me? Debbie, are you there? Deborah, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, perfect. I can hear you.
Can you hear me perfectly?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right, thank you. All right, sorry, ladies and men, and everyone joining us today. This is one of the issues that we have from this part of the country, but sorry about that for that break. All right, we are here live today, and I'm here with an amazing person. We're going to be delving into a fireside chat on women breaking the barrier in the blockchain space. Before I bring her in to introduce herself, let me quickly introduce myself. And like I said earlier, if you hadn't joined us when I greeted, I said good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you're joining from. I'm speaking to you from here in Nigeria, and it's our morning time. And my name is Deborah Immanuel. I'm the managing partner of Hilton Top Solicitors and the pioneer and host of Hilton Top Solicitors Female Virtual Internship and Mentorship Program, a program that is empowering women into the emerging tech space with special focus on the blockchain and its intersection with law. And currently, over the course of multiple cohorts since 2020, we've been able to educate and empower about 5,000 women into the space, cutting across various universities in Nigeria, legal female talent, female lawyers, and female law undergraduates. And in light of that, we are here to discuss the role of women in this space, the challenges that they face, and to relate our stories, delve into our stories to help encourage someone who is out there as a woman. You probably have been thinking, or you've been hearing the word and you felt that, oh, this is not the space for me, or this word sounds so technical. But at least if we're able to share some of the stories that we have, myself and Kristie, who has joined me today, you'll probably be able to take some clue from there. And sometimes we're not able to come into the space because we feel that the testimonies and the stories we hear are so far away from us. But if we're able to share around ourselves as women from whichever jurisdiction that you find yourself, in the long run, you will see that the next person to you actually knows about it and has a story in the space that could actually help inspire you. And that's why myself and Kristie have deemed it fit today to be here to present to you on our personal journeys around the space to help encourage you, inspire you. Kristie is doing amazing things as well. And because of our shared vision, it's the reason we're here for this fireside chat. And of course, there's no way I can speak so much about someone more than the person herself, right? So I'll give her time to introduce herself while we delve into her story and a bit of my story in the space, and then give you some tips around how you can navigate it and break it down. In essence, we want to demystify some of the myths that you have around this space and make it really relatable for you, and you feel you can really hold the blockchain to yourself, right? And at the end of this session, we believe we'll be able to achieve that, and you will see that it is something you need to understand, irrespective of the perception you have around it right now. By the time we're done with this session, you will see the need for you to get to understand yourself properly, to get to the solutions that we need within the ecosystem. So, ladies and gentlemen, I know some men have joined us also on the call. To Kristie Ezigbonwa Immanuel. And as she's going to introduce herself now, you can also introduce yourself in the chat. Tell us where you're joining us from. We'll be glad to have you connect with us. Thank you so much. Over to you, Kristie. I'm glad to have you here today.
Oh, amazing. That was a beautiful opening, Deborah. And hello, people. I'm Kristie Emmanuel, and it's such a delight to be here in today's conversation. It's such a beautiful thing to see that women are gradually warming up into this space. And for me, I joined this space around 2017, and it was only by 2023 that we launched our community Beat Queens. So I am the founder of Beat Queens. I'm a blockchain educator for women, and what we do at Beat Queens is to educate women to create a platform and a supportive community for women's education in blockchain, because we believe that blockchain has gone beyond, it's not only the future of finance. It has become the future of empowerment. It has become the future of financial inclusion, especially for women. And we couldn't be more excited to be in this space to help women make sense of what this technology is about and how they can harness the enormous opportunities and potentials that this space holds. So I'm so delighted, and I can't wait for us to dive into our stories, how we came about this space, and what the journey has been for us. So I welcome you, everyone. If you're listening, I'm joining in here from Nigeria, and if you're listening in on this conversation, please feel free to join in the conversation. Tell us where you're joining in from. Of course, drop your questions if you have any, and let's just have a fantastic conversation. No pressures at all. We're just here to share with you what the experience has been for us as women in this space. Over to
Thank
you.
you so much, Steve. I'm so glad. All right. Thank you so much, Kristie, for that wonderful introduction. We're glad to have you and have you share uh, your story a bit, an introduction into what you're doing and who you are here in Nigeria. And of course, you mentioned about Bitcoins. The last time or when we had the conversation, I was so highly inspired. I was so intrigued with stories in the space, and we were exchanging ideas on our stories, and we found out how aligned our stories are, and we felt that it is very, very important, and it's time for us as women to start sharing our journeys, our stories, so as to get others inspired, really. Sometimes we wait to achieve that very big thing, and we forget to celebrate and also encourage by telling our stories those who are coming behind and are probably going through some of the challenges that we have had to cross, we had to overcome, and especially with the peculiarity of we as women having to walk in the space of this male dominated space. So I would like to hear from you while you give us a snippet into your journey in this space. We've heard a bit of it, how you came into the space in 2017, and how you're doing amazing things with Bitcoins, right? So we want to really hear details about it. So inside that details that will capture the challenges, how you got, introduced into the system, into the space, and your conception before you came into the space, and how that was probably, distilled, and where you are right now, and then the challenges you probably have to overcome, and the amazing thing that you're doing with your community. So we would like to hear about that. Thank you so much, Kristie.
Yes, thank you, Deborah, for that amazing question. So, I started my journey into the blockchain space in 2017. But prior to that, I had a career in teaching. So, my original career was teaching. I was a classroom teacher, in a primary school very close to where I live in my neighborhood, actually. So I loved my job. I mean, to enter the classroom every day and see those warm smiles in the faces of kids, it was something I adored. I loved it. So I was deep into my career as a teacher when I eventually I got invited to an event, to attend a blockchain event. And that would be the first time actually I would hear the word blockchain or Bitcoin or any cryptocurrency. That was around 2017. So when this friend of mine told me, he's a doctor friend, of mine, and I was like, "Ah, what's blockchain? What's Bitcoin? I've never heard anything like that." And you can imagine, Bitcoin was launched sometime in 2009, and it's 2017, and I'm just hearing it. It was like, am I living in a hole or something? But yeah, fast forward to a week after, I found myself in that event. And I was so fascinated about what the space holds and how I, as a woman, can be part of what's happening. Normally I love to learn new things. I love to be in such kind of conversations. So I was excited about the potentials. I was excited about this new technology I've just learned and how it's transforming the way the world is and how it's going to give women the power to become financially included in what's happening. And guess what? My job was not so a fantastic one in terms of my pay. So I was always looking for means to empower myself financially, so that I can support myself, support my family. Being the first child in the family, there's this responsibility that comes with that. So you are always expected, to be at the top so that you can also help bring other ones that are behind you. So I had that burden, and when I heard the potential that blockchain holds for women, I became really very interested. Although the conversation was not really centered about women participation, it was just centered around learning about Bitcoin and how that can be a game changer for everyone or anyone who decides to take advantage. So that was how my journey in that space started. So after that event, I left feeling so empowered. It felt like there was something new about me and what I was about getting into. So 2 months down into my journey, because I became excited, I joined the community. But that community was just full of men who were, about getting involved, buying certain crypto assets, and taking their return on their investments and all that. So it was really not a platform for education. So 2 months after that event, I got a call from this same friend of mine to come see an opportunity that would help me build wealth in the crypto space. And I was really excited, I must tell you, because my take home as a classroom teacher wasn't really much. So fast forward to after we had the conversation, I, I I invested $1,000. I took the opportunity and I invested $1,000 in one crypto asset. And in just about 3 months of starting that particular journey, I lost everything. Now, let me bring this into perspective. $1,000 will be around a little over 450,000 naira at the time, when I joined the space. And that is more like what I was able to save about a year plus in the space. Hello, Deborah, are you still there? Hello, Deborah. Hello, Deborah. Are you still there? Okay, maybe I just continue. So I hopefully she gets back in. So losing $1,000 was like, my 1 year and few months savings. What I had
Yes, I'm
saved in
here.
over one. Okay, okay.
I'm here.
I thought I lost you. Okay, earlier. So
Yes,
let me
I'm here.
continue. You can hear me, right? Can you still hear me?
I'm here. Thank you.
Okay, all right. So I lost all that in a space of 2 months or 3 months, and it was a very bitter experience. I will tell you, it left so much bitterness, for me. At that period, I was so frustrated. I couldn't believe my eyes. I mean, this technology it was just 2 months ago that I had this feeling of, being in a space where I get to learn. and I get to grow and empower myself as a woman. And shortly after that, I am losing $1,000. I mean, $1,000 for a primary school teacher is a whole lot, and I know how long it took me to be able to save that. So it was literally almost all my life savings that went down the drain, just like that. And it was really a winter
Yeah.
experience, I must. And for some time, I wasn't thinking about blockchain again. I wasn't thinking about Bitcoin. I wasn't thinking of any of those things, but I didn't want to hear anything about it, right? So, but I just kept, after some time, I tried to get over it and just continue my life. Of course, continued my teaching career and all that. And then one day I was just, going through the internet and I was just searching something. And I saw an article about blockchain. I said, this blockchain again. So I had this feeling to just click the link and read that article. And for some reason, it just, I had this reconnection to really pay attention to this technology. And that was the day I overcame my fears and I had the courage to really face what really this technology is about. Because a bit prior to that, I didn't really have the chance to start really studying about it or have a group conversation or be in a community where, for instance, women were learning about blockchain or having such conversations and all of that. I was just on my own. So it was really difficult at that first instance. But as soon as I was able to face my fears and had that courage, I started to see the transformative power that this technology holds and how we can really change, the narrative for me as a woman and for other women. So that was how my journey, about 4, 5 months after that bitter incident, really started, right? So I started on the journey. I was learning on my own. And, after some time, I had another event. I attended another event. And there in that event, there were about 150 people. It was about blockchain. And in that 150, about 150, I'm not sure the women in the in the event were up to 10. And even the ones that were there were not really participating in the event. They were just, making sure that the event was well put together, more like the ushers and these other, things that people need to put in place or women do to keep an event going. That was exactly what they were doing. They were not actually sitting down and listening and participating in the conversation. I mean, the women that were seated and listening were not even up to five, including myself, in a room of about 150 people, all men. And I was like, what's going on here? Is it that women cannot lead in these conversations? And what's going on? So after the event, I had a conversation with a certain woman and proceeded to have with about two or three other. And I asked them, well, they said, well, we've heard about blockchain, we've heard about Bitcoin and all that, but I feel like this thing is too technical. I can't join this conversation. I'm not sure it's really for me. I think it's only for men, and all that. And the experience was the same. The other lady told me that, well, she's been interested in learning, but the challenge is that she couldn't find a community to join. She doesn't know how to join a community, maybe a community that can help her. And after my conversation with these women, I just realized that these were the same, experiences I had on onset, in my own journey, which is not being able to find a community to join where I can learn alongside, at my own pace and be carried along. I also discovered that I didn't find much of female mentors because if I can see other women who are really doing great things or are leading the conversations here, I will be encouraged, I'll be inspired. And of course, I felt the space was too technical myself at the first instance when I joined the space. So that was exactly the same experience these women were facing. And it just dawned on me that, I mean, we need more communities. We need to have a situation where women can come together and share their stories, share their experiences, be part of the conversation. And then it just occurred to me that I've always had this thing about, supporting women. I've always had it in mind to support women, but I really didn't know how I should or where, in what area I should. But I've always been interested in matters that concern women and their well-being and affairs and education and how women can be better and how they can be empowered. So going by my background as an educator, it just dawned on me that this is exactly what I should be doing. And so 2022 was when 2021, sorry, was when that desire and burden came on me. Or I had this self-doubt. I was like, can I really do it? I'm just still new in this space. How much do I even know to begin to share with other women? How am I even able to carry them along? I'm still learning. I'm still, and all those kind of self-talk and negative talk. So I didn't action from that. I just allowed it. So the whole of 2021 was gone. 2022, I was just still in the space, developing myself, learning, meeting other women and having side conversations, and all that. Until I met one lady and we had this 1 hour long conversation. And the way the woman was so passionate about being in this space and said, "Oh, Kristie, I really want to be in this space, but I seem not to find any community. I'm so interested in being here." And she started to narrate a lot of things, the experiences she's had, and all that and all that. And I just told myself, there is no going back. After having that, emotional conversation with this woman, the way I like to put it, that was when I woke up. I put my my team together. I summoned the courage because it was about, oh, do I even know enough to show other women? I summoned the courage. I told myself, even the little I know, there are women who are, dying to know what I know or to be in that conversation, to really share their own experiences. So in 2023, August precisely, we launched Big Queens. And since we launched Big Queens, we've had over 1,000 women, join our sessions. What we do is to provide support for women who are interested in learning about blockchain technology, about cryptocurrencies, and about Web3 and how they can harness the potentials within this space to empower themselves. And I tell you what, from my experience with interacting with these women, some of them have very great insights, very great perspective, very great stories, and experiences that they also share with us. Plus the fact that some too come with their biases. Maybe they've had some, not so good experiences, and they've come with some misconceptions about this space. So Big Queens provides opportunity for us to have this conversation, to clear the air, to set the record straight, and to empower us about the potential that this space has and how we as women can be at the table, can be part of the conversation and not just being at the table, to own the conversation, the narrative, to set a narrative of what women participation should be in this. And like rightly recalled, Deborah, we were saying in our conversation that we women are not really sharing our stories that much because there are a number of women who are really doing great in this space. But how about we come together and share our stories, just like we're doing today? A lot of other women will hear our stories and be inspired and be encouraged, especially those who are in the space and sometimes feel overwhelmed and they want to just give up. So it's been an amazing time at Big Queens. And like I've said, what we do is to provide a platform for women to learn about blockchain, about cryptocurrencies and Web3, and how they can harness the opportunities that are in the space. Blockchain has gone beyond the future of finance. It has become the future of empowerment for women. It has become the future of financial inclusion. And we couldn't be more excited and right on time in this conversation to set the record to have a narrative for women's participation in this space. And what we do is we hold training sessions, we have conversations in our community. We do this every week where we pick an area or aspect of blockchain and we discuss it. We have interactive sessions and these women learn and they share their own story. So it's been an exciting time. I'm going to stop here because I know you may have other questions or may want to ask a follow-up questions based on what I've said. But yes, we've had challenges, but I'll allow you to chime in before I continue. So, Debbie?
Wow, that was so great. That was so inspiring. Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me, Kristie?
Yes, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Can you hear me, Kristie?
Yes, I can hear you. Please go ahead.
All right, thank you for that. All right, thank you for that wonderful story. It's so inspiring, you know. It's not new to me because over the course of that conversation, like we had both wished that we did stop that conversation that day, and we realized that yes, like you said, there is a need to share this kind of amazing stories to be able to, achieve what we get. Yes, thank you. You can hear me. Oh, okay, very well. All right, thank you. I said thank you for the inspiring stories, and I hope that the women out there hearing these stories will be highly inspired as much as I am here, and as much as I was when I first heard you, and when I had the conversation with you, and I knew right away that no, this is not a story to be hiding by the background, right? There's a need to come out and share these stories of how we're able to overcome, how we're able to break the barriers and come into this male dominated space, how we're able to, bring our unique strength to the table, and how we're able to shape the future for other women to follow, right? And it's so exciting to hear your story, and just to buttress it with a bit of mine. I'm like, oh, okay, you came into the space in 2017. The story, mine, was actually a story of back then in 2016. I had always been hearing blockchain, cryptocurrency from my husband, and I felt because he had the financial background from accounting, and that was why he was talking about this new technology. I didn't really understand much about it, but I was hearing everything about cryptocurrency, and we were trying to, invest into it one way or the other. Just like you said, because the major uh, space where people come into the blockchain space is through the cryptocurrency. You're either investing into one cryptocurrency or the other. And for some, they just stay back there with where the cryptocurrency is.
Debbie, are you still there? I can't hear you again. Hello, Debbie. Hello, Deborah. Can you hear me? Are you there? Debbie, are you there? I think she's having some technical issues. Wow. Hello, Debbie. Are you there? Can you still hear me?
The network is getting so interrupted today. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, praise God. It is well. Yes, the part where I had to travel down to at the moment is quite not so stable with the internet. And so I plead with you all, Christy and the audience, pardon me. All right, so thank you for that inspiring story, which I greatly appreciate you sharing. And I know that every woman listening to you, and even those that are not women, are getting encouraged, are getting inspired in coming into the blockchain space and finding their feet and getting to understand that blockchain is not something that you should be scared of. Yes, hearing about it for the first time might probably give you some forms of misconceptions. And for some of you in the audience right, where you are probably not just hearing about it for the first time, but the fact that you hear about it or that you've heard about it does not mean that you have been playing in the system. You've not been a part of the ecosystem already, because you probably got confused when you heard about it, and because of the information overload about it, you yes, like I said, you got confused with the whole thing, and you feel that it doesn't really relate to you as a person, or in terms of your business. So from these stories, you'll be able to see how this fits in, and that will lead me to share a bit about mine. Because for me, coming from the legal space, and you coming from the educational, background, we can see the importance and how open this space is, and does not have any form of restriction. It doesn't have any barrier, and you don't have to be like, oh, I have to be technically qualified in this space to be able to, plug in. What it needs is for you to just be willing to understand, be receptive to it. For me, coming from the legal space, I had no idea that there was any form of relationship between this technology and me as a lawyer. And like I said, initially it was my husband that was in this space, and I felt because of his financial background, that was why he was dealing with cryptocurrency in 2016. So I was used to the word blockchain, cryptocurrency, but I never sat down to look at it. What does it really mean? So fast forward to 2018, when a cousin of mine had to refer me to a mentor and said, okay, go to this mentor and let him direct you on the way forward in terms of your practice. Because as at then I had finished giving birth. I had my last born was about 2 years at that time. So I was ready to focus on my practice. And so he said, there's a need for you to meet a mentor. And when I got to this mentor, of all the things that he said that day, the only thing I recall in our session was the question he asked me, what do you want? As at that time I was so confused, I didn't even really know what I wanted, the aspect of what I wanted to practice, and I was just into the general practice. And so I told him my husband was from the accounting background, and at that point he was into blockchain and cryptocurrency, and he said, why not look into that blockchain? And it dawned on me that, oh, there's something about blockchain and law. Really, I've never heard that. I've never done any research as regards that. I didn't think that it would have any relationship at all. I said, okay, sir. And then I picked my pen, my paper. The following day, when my husband had to go for a seminar at that point, I followed him to that physical seminar. And when I sat down with this open mindedness, ready to receive and soak in all information that was coming from the person who was taking us on the session. And yes, the person was not from a legal background, but because I was so ready, like to build and climb and move forward in my practice, I was ready not to miss any form of information that could help me gain direction in my legal practice. So mine was to listen, knowing that this is not a legal course, a legal seminar, was to listen, understand, and see how I can marry it with my space, right? So I owed myself that duty, and I listened with all sense of seriousness. And when I heard the word immutability, in fact, it struck on me, and I started drawing out lessons from all the issues and the challenges that I've had with clients, or that clients have had in the course of my practice up till that time. And I saw that, oh, in terms of some real estate issues that a client of mine had, and I had to help her out by not getting swindled by another person who was purporting to own a title document that was supposed to transfer a property. So I said, so if the land registry can actually deploy their information onto the platform, then we can bring some level of security, some level of trust for people to be able to transact in a transparent way. I said, wow, this is great. Then I recalled some other matters that happened within the pro bono matters that I took up at some point, and how there was no proper record keeping in the court at the point. And then I recall that, oh, those inmates matters that we took up for pro bono, if there were information deployed on the blockchain, if the data was deployed on the blockchain, we could track the suit number and every information about any inmate at any point. And as a result, this will have a ripple effect in terms of granting justice, right? So I started connecting the dots. I looked at it and I said, wow, this thing is beyond the cryptocurrency that I've been hearing about. And so I could see from the perspective of the value, the usefulness. And so I was so happy that I actually went for that seminar and to understand the technology that was powering the cryptocurrency. And like you said, you came into the space coming in with the cryptocurrency. And of course, for me, I started hearing about the blockchain with the cryptocurrency. And so most times people will come into the space with the cryptocurrency, investing into it, buying and getting some airdrop and all that. And they just stay there. The idea is not just to stay there, you go beyond the cryptocurrency and get to understand this technology to be able to harness the full potentials. Because, like you have said from your story, this technology has the potential, the capacity to be able to empower women, has the capacity to empower women. And of course, in terms of the cryptocurrency, decentralized finance, and then of course the opportunities are so enormous that it breaks down the barrier that traditionally are close to some of the opportunities that women would have leveraged on. And that's why we are so concerned about it. Now, the first thing that behoves on us is the fact that we want to see that we empower women, we encourage women, we educate women. Because ever since the time I had come into it and I got that light that very day, I took it up upon myself and I started educating lawyers within the space. When I see that most of the established lawyers, the few I spoke to at the time at that time in 2018, were not receptive. I got that divine ordination that why not reach out to the undergraduates, to those who are coming, those who are still in the four walls of the university and are yet to be able to understand and connect the dots. Because I knew how I wasn't able to connect the dots coming out as a lawyer who was freshly called to the bar at the time. And so it has been an amazing journey having to work within the young female legal minds within the four walls of the universities across almost all universities in Nigeria, and then across law graduates and then lawyers inclusive. Because our space, we could be very, very conservative about things like this, and it hasn't happened that you really get to see that you find lawyers in the forefront of technology, getting to understand and even educating about it. I knew the pushback that I got at the time. And at that time, I recall some of my colleagues who even tell me, Debbie, have you joined the scammers? And I said, what do you mean? Because I'll write articles about the blockchain, its potentials, its challenges, and all that we need to do. And then the implication, the legal implication, and why we lawyers need to get involved. Because I told them the ecosystem is so large, and I think that there's a role for us. And they're like, what are you saying, Debbie? I said, wow, what I know is that I might not fully have understood this technology, but the thing is, the good thing is that I didn't wait to fully understand from A to Z. Like you said, that you were thinking at the point, have you understood enough to teach someone? But the thing is that that little that you even understand, even as a woman, you can actually impact on someone, and it will spur you to do further research and get further understanding, while the person also will be coming up. And so that way we will build more women in the space that will understand and will get to understand the opportunities, the challenges, and the contributors to solution, to being solution providers in the space. That way we are able to harness the opportunities in a very great way that we can maximize those potentials, right? And it's been an amazing journey so far. I've never regretted it, and the community is growing. And I call them the next generation female legal talent. I call them the emerging tech women leaders. women who are getting to understand from my space the intersection of law and this technology, helping to be able to contribute to creating robust policies that will cater to the legal challenges. Because if you look at some of the challenges that we have in the space, apart from the technological challenges that we have and lack of awareness, regulation is a big deal, right? And so I believe that if we're able to build this part of the ecosystem, the legal minds, and then of course with like special focus on women and with a special focus on women from the space that you're educating them, and then from the space of getting them to understand the legal implications, the legal challenges, and how we can actually understand as legal lawyers to be able to adapt the existing laws and contribute our own quota as legal personnel into helping to create robust policies, into helping to advise our clients with the best advice so as to be able to comply with the provisions of the law. I think it will really bring about a great community, a great ecosystem. And this is what we need to do as women. We know that we have great potentials, we have great strengths that we can bring our strength to the table to be able to help achieve the potentials that are in this space. So thank you so much, Kristie, for your great and inspiring story. So this will now lead me. What are the specific challenges that you have actually encountered since you came into the space? Yes, you've heard about the opportunities, you're already seeing it, you're researching and you're understanding, you are educating others. So what are the main challenges that, okay, somebody that is listening to you now, of course, because we're not saying it's all going to be glory, 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 you have the challenges. So they want to prepare and know that, oh, this kind of a thing will come. At least Kristie has gone through it. Deborah has said something similar to that. So I know that mine is coming in a different way, so I can surmount it. What are those specific challenges that you have faced in this space or getting into the space, and how did you overcome it? Thank you, Kristie.
Yes, thank you, Deborah, for that wonderful story. Amazing how you were able to come into the space. Just one word sticking out for you, that's immutability. And with that, you felt like, oh, this is finally making sense. And this is how I'm able to bring my law practice into the blockchain space. Amazing story. It was good listening to you. So for me, when I joined in the space, I realized that the space is constantly evolving. And so what that meant was I have to keep up. And as women, we are caregivers, we have a lot of things running, some are wives, some are mothers, some are, going to school and all that type of stuff. So it dawned on me that this is a constantly evolving space, and for you to continue to stay up to speed of what's happening, you have to constantly keep learning and following the conversation, as it were. So that was one of the challenges and one of the realizations I came to. So it was for me to now decide how regularly I want to participate. So I had to reorganize my schedules to fit in, because I knew that for me to be able to educate other people, I have to stay, other women, I have to keep myself abreast of what's happening. I have to keep learning. I have to keep being in the conversation. So I had to find a way to incorporate my, studies, my education, as it were, in the space, every day, so that from time to time, I'm of course able to be up to speed of what's happening. But like any other person who's listening to me, that might not be your own that might not be your own reality. You may not have every day to be in the space to be part of what's happening, but you have to define for yourself what your own consistency is, because for a woman to be really involved in this space, you need to commit to being part of the conversation. So you need to decide for yourself what your own consistency is and how frequently you need to participate, because like I said, the space continues to evolve. And as women, for us to be in this space, for us to contribute to the conversation, for us to lead, we have to understand what's happening, in the space. So for me, that was the first realization. It wasn't something like you learn today and you are done learning. The learning is continuous. There is no destination, because the space keeps evolving. And for me, it shows that anyone, any woman can come in at any time and just, pick up the conversation and continue. So that was one of the things. Of course, I also discovered, for me, the first time I joined, it felt really technical. But again, I later realized that blockchain is not about the technical terms. It's just like asking yourself, trying to understand how, when you switch on the bulb in your home, how the light comes. You don't need all those technicalities and all that, except maybe that's really your field. But all you know is that once you go to your room and you put on the switch, it comes on. So I felt like that was a strategy that really helped me. I've tried to find how I can relate different areas of blockchain to my everyday life. And I found that blockchain is more like an extension of our everyday life, because if you look at it from that perspective, you will definitely see how blockchain is trying to improve our different areas of our lives. There's nothing, no magic, about blockchain. There is nothing too spectacular, in terms of how it works, that makes it difficult for women to come in. Just see it from the perspective that blockchain is trying to make our lives better. What is it that is happening in the world today, and how is blockchain making it better? That's just it. And when I saw it from that perspective, that pressure of, oh, it's too technical, the jargons are so much, and all that just went away, and it became more relatable. I mean, I'm able to approach every area or concept or idea about blockchain as an everyday experience. So if I were to be talking to a certain group of women about a certain area, let's say decentralized finance, or crypto wallets or anything, I try to find how it relates to our everyday life and bring it into the conversation, because then it makes it easier for them to relate, to understand, to say, oh, it's not even as as big as it is, or as technical as I thought. So these were ways I was able to overcome some of those challenges. And like one of the things you said in our conversation earlier, that if we come to the table and there is no space, then we bring along our table. And that's what we've done to create the community, right? So one of the things I felt was a challenge to me was I didn't find a community to join. And I said, okay, I'm going to create a community and then make opportunity, bring an opportunity for other women to join. So that's exactly what I did to overcome that challenge, to say, oh, I can, have a community, and within my own space, in my own community, I can have these conversations and encourage women. And that's to tell you that every woman is a leader in this space. It doesn't matter whether you are able to reach the global scenes or not, wherever you are, even if it's in Nigeria, in the remotest part of Nigeria, or any part of the world. So long you have the interest to be in this space, you can actually start what is a community? A group of people with shared interest. And, you can have these conversations from time to time. So it's not like so big as it is made to look. Blockchain is actually approachable. If you come from the perspective of how blockchain is making our daily lives better, you will see that this is a tool. It's not, it's a tool for us as women to enhance what we are doing, our professions, our careers, how we provide value, how we show up for ourselves, and how we can impact, because blockchain is about good. What good can we do with blockchain? For instance, you've just narrated how you're able to bring your legal expertise into the space. Imagine representing underrepresented women in the legal space, women who are facing challenges because they do not have people to represent them legally and all that. And how blockchain can even disrupt, especially in terms of ownership. For instance, landed property, in this part of the world, Africa, women get access to certain property. Maybe their parents bequeath it to them, or maybe their spouse passes on, and there's a certain property, or inheritance is bequeathed to them, and for some reason or the other, they are not able to take full ownership. because they feel like women are not supposed to be having such access to such, imagine how blockchain is able to help them, have full ownership and control of their assets, or even their finances, as it were, right? So there are many women out there who even don't participate in the financial activities of their community because they do not have a means of identification. For instance, they can't go to the banks, they can't take loan, they don't have a credit history and all that, or maybe they are farmers, for instance, no credit history, they are not able to access facilities and all that. Imagine how blockchain is able to disrupt that. Imagine how blockchain is able to help women come into the global space and participate, in the global markets. For instance, if you have women in Africa, I always give this example, who produce good shea butter, and they want to be able to export it, but they don't have a means of identification. They don't have an account. They can't receive money abroad because they are not connected to the global financial system. How are they able to do that? With just a smartphone and connection to the internet, they can download a wallet and they are able to receive payment in crypto, no matter where they may be across the globe. So I feel like blockchain has come to empower women. I mean, it feels like this each time I think about it, it feels like this technology is like it's about women, really, to help women come up to speed, to give women a level playing field where they can fully express themselves, the talents they have, use blockchain as a tool to create impact in the society. And for me, I couldn't be more excited to be in this space. So I've been able to see this from this light, that blockchain is a tool. It's in not the society. And me, I couldn't be more excited to be in this. So I've been able to see this from this light, that blockchain is a tool. It's not in the society. And me, I couldn't be more excited to be in this. So I've been able to see this light, that is a tool. It's not in the society. There's a feedback coming in. I couldn't. Deborah, are you still there? There's a feedback on your end.
Yes, yes. It got intercepted. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Kristie. We'll be trying to round up soon. Thank you. From this
I think there's a feedback coming from the
Thank you so much, Kristie. We'll be trying to round up soon. You've taken us off television, right? I'm sure we can hear me, Kristie.
Yes, I can hear you.
I'm sure you can hear me, right?
I can hear you. Go ahead.
Oh, okay, very well. Thank you so much. Of course, the opportunities and the potentials of the blockchain are enormous that women can leverage on. Running from cryptocurrency assets, how it gives you ownership, how this helps you to be able to be a part by virtue of fractionalization. I mean the opportunities are great, and what we need to do is to make women understand and to see leverage. And that's what is to do. I'm glad for the great thing you're making in this. And like you said, the blockchain is not something people should just look at and get scared and feel that they cannot come into. From your space, you try to break it down for them to understand, to make it relatable. And that's so great. Imagine you're doing that, I'm doing it, and we have more women joined by virtue of hearing this kind of conversation. Before you know, in the long run, we'll have great number of driven, understanding the technology, and being a part of the ecosystem to be able to build solutions. Because before we can even leverage the opportunities, we have to understand. So a lot more, in fact, a large number of persons actually, of course, they're not new to the word blockchain. So you ask them what's blockchain. Blockchain is decentralized, distributed. They know all the, all the terminologies and all that, but really how it relates to them, they really do not understand. And it's not about just understanding blockchain from a crammed definition. It's about really understanding it, understanding the values, understanding the potentials, understanding to solve issues that are to solve issues in the community or the society or your business that you feel that the blockchain can actually tackle. You now start to work towards implementing, and so that you can harness those opportunities. And so for me, yes, we break it down, we make you understand blockchain is basically a digital ledger where you enter transactions. And sometimes I use various analogies, book analogy, I use the land registry coming from my space in the legal space, and some of the things that it relates so well to explain that. And I use that. So I'm going to ask you one of the simplest ways you can actually, explain to maybe the newbies, those who are from the not technological background, as both of us are. We're not from understand this and break it down, demystify it for others to understand. And then one of the other analogies I just use simply is just cast your mind to a digital ledger as it is with the traditional mode of entry transactions, of entering records, and just look at it from that process where you enter any form of transactions, whether it's transactions about the property that you have sold, you where you want to sell property. Because some people feel that when we talk about tokenization, tokenizing real assets, they feel, okay, how do you want to do it? Is it that the land, is it going to be carried to the to the blockchain? And the blockchain is not something you carry and all that, right? Now every information, every transaction, all the records that you have to enter as in the traditional records. Now, if you decide to want to change this information, you can go and change because you are the one who is controlling the data. It is from a central authority, right? And then if you probably did not like somebody who submitted maybe the title documents, which I have had that kind of experience for a client, they can actually go, delete information and take out this title document as it is with the traditional system. Now, what differentiates the traditional system from the blockchain mode of digital ledger entry is the fact that any information you enter, any transaction records that you deploy to this platform, you are not going to change. You cannot change because the decision is not just resting on you. The decision is between multiple connected nodes. That is multiple connected computers, right? And so this decision to change is not just going to be by you alone because you have to go with things they call like agreement, which is the consensus algorithm, right? And because of the fact that it is also decentralized, spanning across multiple computers, if you delete your own, how will you delete for the other multiple computers? And then the issue of the immutability makes it so hard for you to even delete. It's not the traditional one where you can delete and nobody can trace it. So these are some of the features of immutability, security, transparency, and all these features makes the blockchain. And this is one of the ways we can make it simple. So thank you so much, Kristie. I would now ask you from your own perspective. Like I said, majorly I usually use like this analogy or the book analogy, where you enter information on one page, you get to the other page. The first page will be closed, you can't go and change it, and then you enter the next one. It has to be linked to the first information, and then or probably even using the land registry with the record entry in terms of tracing title, where there's a break in the chain of title, and you know that someone has tampered with it and stuff like that. So from your own perspective, how to explain to this our audience today in a simple way, one of the ways you explain to your community what the blockchain really is?
Can you still hear me?
Yes, I can still hear you.
Okay.
As we
So
round up, I hope you heard the question. Yeah.
yes, yes, I heard the question. So it's similar to how I've been able to break it down, but the example I usually use is, I say as a woman, just imagine you have a business, maybe a grocery store, right? And in your grocery store, you sell all kinds of things. Customers come into your shop every day, they buy things, and you have a way of recording what you sell. So you've sold apples, you've sold beverages, you've sold this and that, and there is a system, that allows you capture every detail. In fact, you are gathering data, because from there you will know what your customers even like more, what you have in the shelf, what you do not have. So that is a form of accounting that most people are used to, most women, especially those who run businesses, are used to. So in that ledger, that notebook where have copies, record of everything that you do on day-to-day basis. You can decide what to write and what not to write. You can decide what to strike out and not what to strike out. You can decide to change the price of anything without anybody questioning anything. Now, so imagine that you now have that record on the blockchain, and everything about your business is captured on the blockchain. It means that the copy of your day-to-day record about your business is now duplicated across different nodes. In this example, computers that are interconnected in such a way that whatever information that is entered is distributed across these different computers. And in that way, women are able to understand that this is more like keeping collaboration, or collaborating, or keeping perfect accounting simultaneously. And sometimes I come from the angle of saying, okay, just imagine that as a community, as Bitcoin, we have a project, and we are working on that project collectively. But we have a notebook where we enter our activities and we update everything that we do on that project every single time. And once it gets updated, it duplicates itself across in terms of bringing up to speed what the latest information is. So imagine having a distributed system where everybody can see what is happening. Everybody can simultaneously update their own ledger or their own end, because in this case, the ledgers represent the computers or the nodes that are interconnected to each other. So when I come from that perspective of bringing it to what the women can relate to, especially from the business perspective, which women do a lot and they keep records of their business from time to time. So imagine that you have a system of keeping records that cannot be altered by anyone, that cannot be, that is immutable, meaning that once you have it there, it's not changed, that is transparent, meaning that anyone who is on that particular network where your records are broadcasted can actually see what's happening. And this is really important, because wherever there is need for accountability, for transparency, for security, for decentralization, that's where blockchain shines through. And this, is really important for us as women, because we now begin to understand that on the blockchain, it gives us power as women to participate. I mean, decision making is no longer left to the selected few. It gives us power as women to be part of what's happening, to be part of decision making process. We can contribute to the good of a network, just like in our communities as women, where we form communities and we decide on how to run communities, especially in those remote areas where you see women hold meetings at regular intervals, and we discuss the affairs of women and how we can, carry the community forward, or discuss about our children's affair and all of that. If you remember those, meetings that women hold regularly, maybe every Sunday or every once a month and all of that. So using such analogies will just make women connected, seamlessly, that this is just about community, is about collaboration, is about holding everybody accountable, and agreeing on what is true and what's not, what holds and what doesn't hold. So that's the perspective from where I usually come. I try as much as possible to avoid jargons and all those big words, and all that, so that the women can first relate to how blockchain is really transforming their lives, and how they can key in and now see how they can use blockchain as a tool for their business. There are situations where women set up businesses, but they're not there to monitor their businesses, right? how can blockchain be incorporated in their business so that the records are well captured? There are no illicit activities in their business, and wherever they are, they can actually see what's happening and can monitor their business. So I come from that perspective of everyday activities of women and what they're already used to, so that they see that blockchain is just about making our everyday life better. And then they can see the need to begin to incorporate it in what, whether if they're having businesses or they are career people, just like you, who is now using your law background to see how women can participate in the space, or whether you're a doctor or you're a teacher like me. I don't have tech background. I've never heard of blockchain until 2017 and all that. So it all shows that women can participate irrespective of their background, their culture, their experiences, wherever they, come from. It's an open playing field, level playing field for all women everywhere to be part of what's happening. So blockchain is relatable. That's the message. It's understandable. It's something that we can approach, and every woman who is interested can be part of this.
Thank you so much.
Can you still hear me, Deborah?
Thank you so much, Kristie. Thank you so much. And from this whole discussion, from this whole conversation, I've been able to pick out, the challenges. I mean, from the beginning of the conversation to now, and then of course how the enormous opportunities that the blockchain offers for us, even as women. Of course, it offers all this for everyone, but as women, that we can leverage all these opportunities. We have also seen how you do not need to have a particular qualification. From the discussion that has been highlighted, so you don't have to have a specific qualification to play in this space, to play in the ecosystem. And also, you do not have to be a man to play in the ecosystem. So we have seen that from the story of Kristie, we have seen that from my story. And then you do not have to, apart from having a special qualification that it is not a requirement, you do not have to be from a particular industry. So, like for me, like I said, for the legal industry, people were so shocked at the time. And I recall, like I said earlier, that most of the colleagues I was speaking to were not receptive to it. But it's so great that, the legal industry, especially from the jurisdiction where we are now, they're coming up with it, right? They're coming up to it. And so you do not have to come from a specific industry to say, oh, I should be from the financial industry, I should be from this particular industry, from the engineering, and from whichever industry that you think. I'm from the legal space. Kristie is from the educational space, and we are all here contributing our own quota to the space, to building the space. And so that means that there is no barrier. You can break every form of barrier, irrespective of whether you are from the tech space or from the non-tech background. You can actually find a space in this ecosystem, and that you don't need a special qualification. All you need is the willingness, and then the receptiveness, the flexibility, the adaptability. For you, that's what you need to come with. Be ready to learn, be ready to adapt, not to be so resistant to it, and not to be rigid. And so when you come into the space with that open-mindedness, you are able to read, research. You just consume. As you read, you consume. As you attend conferences, seminars, various trainings, there are lots of trainings around the blockchain. So as you open your mind to it, you will be able to see where you fit in, and the part that resonates with you, whether from the industry that you are coming from. As an educator, Kristie is able to leverage that to
powerfully educate women in the space. As a legal person, I'm able to explore the legal intersection, the intersection between law and blockchain, and then other use cases and other opportunities that the space offers. Now, it doesn't have to, if you probably are in a space where you don't even like the industry where you're coming from, it doesn't matter, you can transition, right? So all you need is that willingness. So there is no special qualification required. There is opportunity for everyone, whether it is from the business aspect, the legal aspect, the education aspect, whether it's from the financial aspect. You have opportunities there. And if you're from the technical background, you have opportunities. So there are so many misconceptions. Some people feel that you have to have technical background. You do not have to. So that is it. If you come into it, you see the one that aligns with you and you're able to play your role. But before we end this session, which we will do quickly, I would like to touch up on the legal implication. Apart from the fact that, the blockchain, we know that it has these various opportunities that we've been able to highlight with our discussion today, we also must not close our eyes to the various challenges that this technology can actually pose. Challenges around scalability, interoperability, and security, right? These are some of the challenges that the technology poses, right? And then there are legal implications within this space. Some of the legal implications in other discussions we've had on my LinkedIn Live, I've been able to highlight it. There are implications around compliance with the provisions of the general data protection regulations, the EU GDPR, and then for us in Nigeria, the NDPA and the NDPR. So these are some of the challenges in terms of trying to balance the provisions of the law in terms of data privacy and data protection with the provisions or with the solutions that we deploy on the blockchain. So it is very, very important that you understand the legal implications, the legal challenges, and then build along the line with, build from the start, understanding the legal implication or having legal personnel in your team to be able to set you a right to be in to be in compliance with the provisions of the law. And then, of course, there are various issues around anti-money laundering and know your customers. There are issues around intellectual property, right? So these are issues that calls for the fact that you need to have a well-structured team to be able to help you understand the legal implication. You don't have to understand it by yourself, but as women, as we come into this space, we are teaching. And like you said, I love what you do. You try in your own way also to incorporate some of the aspects of the legal or regulatory implications that you come across. But yeah, we should impute all this so that as they get to understand, as we build more women into the space, they get to understand that there are legal challenges, there are legal implications, and they have to have that in mind as we build in the ecosystem. And as we understand in the ecosystem, we have to also understand the legal and regulatory requirements within the space. And so, of course, these are things that if we are to delve into it today, we'll end this discussion, but we've had it for over an hour now. So I'm sure we'll round up this session now in a few minutes. So I want to give you some time, Kristie. Thank you so much for this great discussion. It has been nothing short of inspiring. And I know that this session today, this LinkedIn Live session that we've had today, is going to speak to a lot of lives. It's going to serve as a form of inspiration and encouragement to women and those who are interested in the blockchain, whether those who are in the blockchain space already or those who are trying to come into the space. I know that this will help them to be able to chart the route, right? To chart this uncharted route. And I know that at the end of the day, we would have made our own contribution to impacting women, just like we have been doing before we came to this platform. So, Kristie, I appreciate you so much. I want to ask you for your take home for everyone who is watching. What are you going to tell women that they should commit to doing? What's that take home word that you have for them to summarize? You can just help us speak to that while we try to round up the session so we can, save some other listeners the time to join other commitments that they have. So over to you, Kristie, as we round up. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Deborah. And I must say it's been an exciting time having this conversation. And I want to tell all women that are listening,
Kristie?
breaking. Can you hear me?
Christy, can
Yes,
you
can you
hear
hear
me?
me? Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, great. So I want to say that breaking the barrier as
Yes, I can hear
women,
you now.
remember that it doesn't have to happen overnight, right? I'm encouraging you to keep at it, keep learning, stay committed.
Christy, are you
I
there?
mean, there's so much. Yes, I'm there. I'm here. I can hear you.
Please go
I
ahead,
can hear
Christy.
you.
Thank you.
Okay. So as women, there's a lot that we can achieve together. And that's why we encourage you to stay committed, keep learning, and it will be also it will help your journey to find communities to be part of, because it will help to fast track your journey. Some of us made that mistake at at the onset when we started our journey, but I've come to realize that being part of a community really helps to fast track your journey, because you're learning with other women who have the same mindset with you, who are going towards the same direction, and then it offers you the opportunity to share your own story, share your experiences, what you're going through, have conversations, and of course, be able to contribute. So find yourself a community to join, express yourself, ask questions when you are not sure of anything. And please don't shy away from joining conversations like this. And I think that one of the things that challenges that we're having in this space as women is that we are not sharing our stories enough. I mean, women are feeling like, oh, I don't even know how to, present myself or present my story or, contribute to the conversation. You don't have to have all the knowledge to contribute to the conversation. Just showing up and being your authentic self and, sharing your own perspective is just more than enough. And, with constant participation, that's how you get to deepen your own understanding, get to deepen your own contribution in in conversations like this. When I first started, I didn't know how to string a sentence about expressing myself or what I've learned, or if I wanted to explain what blockchain is or cryptocurrency and all that. But it came with consistent practice. It came with study, being part of the conversation. And that's what we're encouraging women to do. When you join conversations, maybe online or offline, please ask questions, be part of the conversation. That's the way you get to express yourself, share your own experiences, share your own story. Because I believe that if women are sharing their stories, it will inspire other women who are looking to join. Remember, there are women who don't have the kind of knowledge and background we already have, who are inspiring to come into the space. So if we're not talking, how are they going to be inspired to come in? So my last word for you would be to stay committed, to keep learning, join a community, participate in conversations, and of course, always pay attention, like Bra said, the legal implications in this case. Together, we will definitely overcome. This is the time that we as women will chat a new course about women's participation in this space. It's no longer time for us to be at the side. This is not the time you should be on the sidelines, women. It's not the time. This is the time to be at the forefront. This is the time to, chart a new course, to be in the conversation, to own the conversation, like I like to say. And if you come into the room and there is no table, no chair, nowhere to sit, please come with your own table and chair so that you create your own audience and you start educating. We need more women in this space to carry out these conversations, to bring in more awareness and for more women representation in the space. It will shock you that there are about 25% of women participating in blockchain and crypto and related, things, and about 10% of women are leaders. So you can see the huge gap, and we couldn't be more pumped at this point in time, myself and Deborah, to continue to create that awareness for women's participation and more representation in this space. So Thank you, ladies, and we hope you found this conversation really helpful and that it inspires you to start your journey today. Maybe you've been wanting to start, or maybe you're already in the space, but you're feeling overwhelmed or you want to give up. We hope that this story inspires you to continue on the journey or to make that first bold step into becoming a leader in the blockchain space. Thank you, Deborah, and it's over to you. Deborah, can you still hear me?
Thank you so much, Kristie. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I hope the audience, you were following us with everything that we have discussed today. And from the discussion, I hope you've been able to pick the fact that blockchain gives a level playing ground to women. And we've been able to present in this conversation today the various potentials, opportunities that the blockchain offers. Yes, I can hear you, Kristie. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Go ahead.
Thank you, Kristie, if you can hear me. Thank you so much for that for the wonderful conversation today and for this final message that you have given. Yes, thank you so much, Kristie. I'm so glad to have had you here today for this great conversation. Like, we should be having more of this kind of conversation within this space, right? We shouldn't keep ourselves at the background. We should come out, share it, get ourselves inspired the more, and inspire the other people who are not able to come out of their shell as women, right? Thank you so much, Kristie. I really do appreciate you. But I hope you members of the audience that are connected to this LinkedIn live session today, and those that will be watching the replay, that you've been able to pick one or two things from this conversation today. Because from the conversation, we've been able to highlight, like Kristie said, that blockchain offers a level playing ground, a level playing for to leverage, and that you can come into the space from this conversation. We have been able to highlight the fact that you can come into the space irrespective of your background, of the industry where you are at present, and that you don't need a special qualification. All you need is for you to be open-minded, to be flexible, to be adaptable, to be willing to learn about it. And I hope also that you've been able to pick the fact that we also highlighted that as much as it has great potentials and these opportunities, that it also does have some challenges. And then that challenges like interoperability, scalability, security, these are some of the challenges it poses. And of course, we expect that as we keep building, as the ecosystem keeps building, we'll be able to find a way around these challenges and be able to tackle it for a seamless operation within the blockchain technology. And of course, we've been able to highlight also some of the legal implications and the need for you to also build along with the provisions of the law, with the provisions of with the regulations in mind, so that you will not be on the other side of the law, but you will be building with compliance in mind, understanding the legal and the regulatory frameworks. Having to collaborate also is a key feature. You need to collaborate to be able to build the right community, the right ecosystem, to have the right knowledge, so that we can be able to build a community that will help harness the potentials maximally, right? Then issue of collaboration between, because we as women, we need to collaborate more. That's one of the things we're doing here. Kristie is here, I am here, and for every one of you that are here, this is part of the collaboration. When we got talking and got conversing, we saw that, oh, this is great thing we're doing here. As women, we shouldn't see ourselves as competitors, but as collaborators in this ecosystem. And whatever thing you're doing, whatever thing I'm doing, we should be able to collaborate, build ourselves, and uplift ourselves, and push this message out to a larger audience, the audience of Kristie, the audience of Deborah. We put
them together and we build them with more information. And they are also as well able to go to their own private communities and build. And before you know, you can imagine how many women would have been able to empower. We've been able to talk about the importance and ways that we can empower ourselves through the decentralized finance, through cryptocurrencies, through tokenization, and these great opportunities. Of course, they are there for you to get to understand this technology and come into the space. But one thing is clear from our conversation: you don't need to overwhelm yourself and feel the solutions they are building. When can I build? You don't have to jump into solutions and overwhelm yourself. Start from understanding, even understanding from the basic level of the way Kristie has defined it for us. Understand from your supermarket transactions and all these things. So you take it one step at a time, bit by bit, and then you will come along, right? So there's no need to overwhelm yourself. All you need to do, like we said, open your mind, be flexible, be adaptable, and then you will be able to, play a role in the ecosystem. But one thing also is clear: whichever side of the divide that you are, whether you believe that this blockchain technology has the capacity to disrupt every industry or not, it is very important for you to understand the technology. I mean, it won't do you any harm because of jurisdiction. If this thing is causing a lot of hype and it's even beyond hype, countries, various jurisdictions are coming up with various regulations. For Nigeria, we have the national blockchain policy, right? So if you think they'll be coming up with things like this, it has no form of potential. Even if it do have potential, if you believe or you belong to that category, please do understand this technology, because whether you believe it or not, it is evolving and the big fours are building, solutions are being built, and of course various changes are being made, trying to tackle some of the challenges that it poses. So it will do you well to understand this technology. And if it happens that it's not relevant as you believe that it won't be relevant, it won't do you any harm to know about it at the rate at which it is going now. But the idea is that you don't stay where technology is. You get to understand the blockchain technology. You don't stay with where the blockchain technology is, but you move ahead with the technology to know where technology is heading to. Don't stay where technology is, but you keep reading and researching and consuming. As you read, as you research, you consume, and then you are able to know what to do. You are able to act and from a place of information. So as a business, as a person, you do need to understand the implication of the blockchain. And so whatever space you want to play in, whether from the technical role or from the non-technical role, it is open to you. There is opportunity for you. So I hope that myself, Deborah Enyonewuni, and Kristie Emmanuel, the founder of Bitcoins, have been able to convince you and not confuse you today that it is important for you to understand blockchain and understand the various opportunities and challenges and the legal implications, and that there's a need for you to collaborate and join communities. So why not connect with us on LinkedIn here, connect with Kristie Emmanuel, the Bitcoin founder, and connect with me, Deborah Enyonewuni, managing partner of Hilton Top Solicitors. So you can join the community of Bitcoin, of Kristie also, which is the Bitcoins, that doing there. You would want to be a part of the community, because community is what it is, right? So you don't need to just start your own if you have no understanding. You can join a community, and you can join my community from the legal minds, right? We are also building the legal mind. So whichever community you can just join and be able to get direction. So if you do not have any understanding, don't be worried. Kristie has got you covered. I've got you covered. You can reach out to us, but make sure you connect with Kristie Emmanuel and connect with me here on LinkedIn. Let's take the conversation deeper so that we'll be able to help each other. I know that if we are to discuss everything that we have to discuss under this kind of fireside chat today, Kristie, we won't leave here, right? So we're just going to cut off right now and end this session. So thank you so much, Kristie. This is from the bottom of my heart saying thank you. Thank you for being here for this conversation, which is so important for us. You said something, that there's a need for more women to share their stories so that we help to build and inspire others, right? Thank you so much for sharing your wonderful, amazing, inspiring story. I'm glad to have had you today, and I look towards the amazing things we're going to be doing together, and I look towards more of the great things that you are doing, both for Bitcoins and every other opportunities that you are building within the blockchain space. Thank you so much. And I want to say God bless you. And thank you to every of our audience. Thank you for those watching now and those that will play. That will watch the replay, we say thank you for being a part of it, and we hope you have found this valuable. So, if you found value, please drop a comment, whether right now or when you watch the replay. Drop a comment. Thank you so much, Kristie. So you can just say bye to everyone. Your final words. Thank you so much.
Yes, yes. Thank you, Deborah. That was such a beautiful closing. I'm super excited to have joined the conversation. We look forward to having more of these amazing conversations where women come on and also share their experiences and we collaborate more. I love that. I love that women can come on and share their stories and collaborate more. So thank you. And hopefully we come back for another insightful conversation soon.
Thank you so much. All right, thank you so much, Kristie. I'm unable to hear you again, but thank you. We have come to the end of the session. Thank you all for joining this LinkedIn Live. We appreciate you. This is from me and from Kristie. We say a very big thank you for your time today and hope to have you on our next session. Thank you so much. All right, bye, everyone. Thank you, Kristie. Bye.
Bye.